I grew up in Panama City, Panama. Very, very humble beginnings actually. There's like poor people and there's me. Because of my background, my poor inner city kid, and I suffer with a lot of abuse, all kind of abuse that you can imagine. Anything horrible that you can think that happened to a child probably happened to me. So I ran away from my house when I was 10 years old. My grandma raised me. Being a doctor, I think my grandma planted that seed on my head. I think because at 5 years old, I already knew how to read. She also lived behind a bookstore, and they would throw magazines and journals, and I would pick up the ones that were anything related to medicine. There was a lot of journals and articles that came from UCLA. At that time, I would pronounce it UCLA, so I would tell that my dream was to come to the United States and go to UCLA. My Spanish professor, which was also my counselor, told me that they were looking for the best young citizen of Panama, and she thought with all my achievement and she knew all my life story, she thought I should apply. So I applied and I ended up winning. My dad, who came to the United States since I was 1.5 or 2 years old, contacted me. When he read the true story of my life or my achievement, he told me that if I ever wanted to come to the United States, he helped me get a green card. So I didn't even think twice. I just packed my bags. So I came to the United States with the idea that I wanted to go to UCLA, and actually I applied and ended up going to UCLA for undergrad and got a Bachelor in Science in Biology. And then the dream continued, trying to apply to medical school. But when I came from Panama, I didn't have the resources on what I was applying for. My tuition was really crazy, astronomically. But I always feel like I've been guided, to be where I am right now. And just hanging out with one of my cousin's friends, who was a model, I went just with him to his agency because he needed to pick up a check, and the agent asked me if I ever had done something like that, and I go, wow, you want to pay me to take my picture? So I started modeling. I started making money and I started paying my tuition for UCLA. The modeling career really opens doors for me because it helped me finance my education. When I graduated from UCLA, then I got into medical school in Los Angeles, Western University of Health Sciences. So during my rotations, I remember that I had a heck of a lot of fun in South Florida, and I thought the whole state of Florida was South Beach. So I said, I'm just going to apply to any residency program that they take me that is in South Florida. So I did. I ended up in Wellington, which it wasn't anything like South Beach. It's really hard to get into dermatology. Everybody wants to be a dermatologist. And the irony is that now I'm the medical director of a dermatology program, which is the dermatology program who didn't accept me. Pretty much any residency in dermatology in South Florida or in the country, and I have from Colombia, they come and train with me for aesthetics, so I teach a lot. My philosophy is trying to keep the architecture of the human face. So my job is to maintain the architecture of the face as much as I can, or prolong youth and longevity to a face without altering it. These days, my #1 procedure in my practice is Sculptra aesthetics, which is a biocollagen stimulator that imitates fat, imitates bone. It thickens your skin with collagen, and it helps preserve the architecture of the bone. By preserving the architecture of the bone, you maintain a youthful face. It's an injectable material. It's polylactic acid. So imagine that I'm injecting and kind of spraying the bone of the facial bones with this collagen stimulator. And in 8 weeks, you're going to create collagen that's going to imitate bone, or it's going to imitate fat, having the face to recover the contour, ratios, and proportion of a younger face. That collagen is live tissue, and it usually will tend to be there for 2.5 to 3 years. The CO2 is an old technology since 1983, but it's being tweak. So we don't reinvent the wheel, we just make it better. And the way they make it better is that the old-fashioned CO2 was like pulling a blowtorch and burning everything. The fractional CO2 leaves micro areas of the skin without being harmed. Why is that important? Well, it's important because around the follicle, there are specialized skin cells that when you cut, scrape, burn the skin, they go to the area of injury and start asking for help. So the wound healing cascade starts. Now, if you did the old-fashioned CO2 and pull out a blowtorch, you burn everything, including those specialized cells. So it took months to heal, and it had a lot of problems with more infection, scarring, and discoloration. By leaving small areas unharmed with this fractional CO2, what it does is the skin starts healing within 24 hours. So what it used to take months to heal takes about 4 to 5 days. So the immediate change is from the ablation, and then in 4 to 6 weeks, up to 3 and 6 months, my skin is just going to continue getting younger and younger and younger. I want to create a product line, kind of like Dr. Pericon. I want to see my products in Sephora, QVC, HSN. I want to do that to have enough capital to do more philanthropic work. You know, I like to change people's lives and make people's dreams come true. Because if it wasn't because people believe in me, it's no accident I'm here. I have a lot of people since I was a little boy that believe in me, believe in my dreams, became my co-dreamers, and I want to be that. I will leave this realm penniless because I'll make sure that every penny that I have, I will use it to change somebody's life so they can get the opportunities that I have.